You're nice.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Dr. Patience Jackson Rose, and we are live here on Co-working Live with Red Worldwide. And we're excited that you're here with us today. We are just really learning how to do business better through our wonderful co-working opportunities. And so we have a lot of people that are weighing in on what it is that they need and how they would like to receive access to, these particular types of trainings and teachings. And so we've been, offering our opportunities to people so that they can um, just really do business better. And as a result of that, we've had several opportunities that came our way to talk about different things by way of request from the members of Red Worldwide. And those requests have turned into 80 videos that are now available on our website, www.redworldwide.org. You can scroll down and see our little player in the middle of the page that will help you to find access to our content. And so I wanted to take a minute to just kind of take you there. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can get an opportunity to see that, because I think it's important for you to know how to get to it. Now, sure, you could watch it, on YouTube. And if you are in the YouTube ecosystem like that and you want to spend the time to watch our podcast there, we really would love for you to have access to that. But for those of you who are not doing it that way, okay, we want you to be able to see it differently. And so, I want to, let me see if I can, oh, you know what? I got to do this a little differently than what I thought. So I'm going to share my screen. This time you'll be able to see it for sure. I apologize because I'm new in this ecosystem and I'm just really learning how to get access to some of this. Javon, can you make me live with my screen share? Okay, so you should be able to see, the website now, and this is Red Worldwide's website. And if you scroll all the way down, we're going to go past all of these offers, and you'll see something that says "Watch Now." So if you wanted to be live in our Zoom studio, you'd be able to be live by clicking the watch now button during the time when we are going live, and so that would be Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 a.m. and Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. And that's all Pacific Standard Time, or on Fridays at 12 noon. Again, that's Pacific Standard Time. So you can click on the watch now button and it'll take you there. Or you can actually go over here to the corner and hit the little hamburger, those three lines up there, and you'll be able to scroll down and get access to 80 videos. Today we'll make 81, I believe. It shows 78 in the player, but actually there are 80 available. And so I think they're going in daily, and you should be able to get access to all 80 of them by tomorrow. And that gives you, so many options, from in things to teach you about the protecting your business with policies and procedures and terms and conditions, to using wellness to unlock your creative potential, to something we call the Freedom Workshop, that takes you to what is your freedom point. When do you plan to actually do something different in your business? There are just so many things in here. Securing your legacy, navigating probate and estate planning is in there. There's information about content strategy for social media, I mean, there's a lot. The roadmap to legacy building is in there, creating lasting legacies in business. We have one that we literally just did on family businesses. That's a very good video. There's one on the ADHD conspiracy that we did during the month that we were celebrating people who learn differently. And I mean, there's just lots and lots and lots to take advantage of. So we wanted to make sure that you knew that that was all there, because, you know, having that information, you know, could help you to make a good decision about content that you might utilize to be a resource for you to learn more about business. And so we're excited that, you know, you have joined with us and that you now, you know, have access to our information. And those of you who are frequent visitors, you might also know that we have an app available. You can go to 5minutefinance.app. That's 5, the number 5, minute finance.app. That app will give you access to more free content. We have loads and loads of 5 to 7 minute videos there that you can watch that help you to learn about, you know, some really good information in business. And we are just excited to, you know, just be that resource to bring it to you. Well, today we're going to be talking about servant leadership. We started trying to do this the other day and there was technical difficulties. So some of you guys may have joined in and unfortunately you were not able to watch the full video. So we decided to just redo it. And so you're getting this fresh. This is not, you know, a replay. This is actually a live video. So we're here to really work through, you know, what does it mean to be a servant leader and how can you focus on your servant leadership skills, you know, to provide more information, you know, to even your customers, you know, while you're serving as a leader, but also to your team, you know, to help them understand how they can become servant leaders. And so we're going to watch, you know, a little bit of an intro video. And then from there, we're going to jump into this today to really unpack what it means to really be a servant leader and how that can benefit your company. Let's roll it.
World where leadership isn't about power or control, but about service and support. That's the essence of servant leadership, a philosophy that turns traditional notions of leadership on their head. Picture this. Instead of a leader standing at the pinnacle of a hierarchy, arms crossed, surveying their domain, we have someone who kneels down, rolls up their sleeves, and asks, "How can I help you grow?" It's a refreshing perspective, isn't it? Now, I know what you might be thinking. In a society that often glorifies ambition and the relentless pursuit of success, the idea of serving first can seem a bit, well, out there. We've been conditioned to believe that to climb the corporate ladder, we must be assertive, competitive, and sometimes even cutthroat. But here's the kicker. Research shows that organizations led by servant leaders experience higher employee satisfaction, increased collaboration, and a genuine sense of community. Who wouldn't want to work in an environment like that? Let's break down what servant leadership really entails. At its core, it's about 4 key principles: listening, empathy, stewardship, and community building. These aren't just buzzwords. They're actions that can transform the way we interact with our teams and colleagues. Listening is more than just hearing words. It's about understanding the needs and concerns of others. Empathy allows us to connect on a deeper level, fostering trust and respect. Stewardship is about taking responsibility for the growth of those around us, ensuring that everyone has the tools and support they need to succeed. And community building? That's about creating a culture where everyone feels valued and included. Throughout this episode, we're going to dive into real-life stories of leaders who embody these principles. You'll hear from industry experts and individuals who have experienced the profound impact of servant leadership firsthand. They'll share their journeys, their challenges, and how their commitment to serving others has transformed not only their teams, but their entire organizations. But let's not sugarcoat it. Embracing servant leadership isn't always easy. It requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to let go of traditional notions of authority, and a commitment to putting others first. It can feel uncomfortable, especially in environments that prioritize results over relationships. Yet, the payoff is immense. When leaders prioritize the well-being and growth of their team members, they foster an atmosphere of trust and collaboration. People feel empowered to share their ideas, take risks, and innovate. The ripple effect of this approach can lead to incredible change, not just within the organization, but in the industry as a whole. So whether you're a seasoned leader, an aspiring one, or just someone curious about what makes a great leader, this episode is for you. We're going to unpack how servant leadership isn't just a trendy concept. It's a powerful approach that can reshape our understanding of leadership and influence. We're here to inspire you, to challenge you, and to encourage you to think differently about how you lead and serve. Get ready to explore the fascinating world of servant leadership. Together, we'll discover how focusing on serving others can create a workplace culture that thrives on collaboration, innovation, and genuine connection. Let's jump in and unlock the potential.
Okay. So when we're thinking about being a servant leader, we've got to be able to understand the possibilities that exist. I mean, there are people that serve in all kinds of ways, but, for a lot of us who are willing to dig in by, throwing in the proverbial towel for having this dictatorship mindset and actually jumping in to help, okay, and positioning yourself that if there is a person that has to eat last, you're that one. You're the leader that is going to eat last to make sure that everyone else gets an opportunity to participate in what it is available, at the time when it needs to be brought and made available. And so I am one that has experienced this type of lifestyle for a very long time. I talk to people and I tell them, I live for the benefit of others. That has been my lifestyle for a lot of years. And some of you all know that I actually do pastor, alongside of my husband as associate pastor at a ministry here in Ventura, California, along with, running another ministry that we've been running for a long time that hails from Texas. And we now are opening up some opportunities in Northern California. And we look forward to, always being in a position where we can be used. And so understanding that we brought that to our business, where we look at ourselves as leaders, but we look at ourselves as servant leaders. And so some years ago, I was able to get some training, and that training helped me to understand what it really means to be a servant leader. And I wanted to bring that to you today because I believe that when we have the vision and the mindset of being a servant leader, and we're able to do that in front of others, it gives us the ability to teach a concept that will cause our companies and our endeavors, our organizations to be stronger for it. So what does it mean to be a servant leader? What is the balance between humility and assertiveness? Well, servant leadership thrives on a delicate equilibrium between humility and assertiveness. While, it's wonderful for us to be able to be empathetic and to, be service oriented, you need to also have that assertiveness in your leadership that allows for effective communication, clear communication. Okay. I mean, really clear communication and decision making. People need to be able to understand that you meant what you said. And when they have that understanding, it helps them to operate better in your companies. The balance ensures that leaders are both supportive and guiding, empowering others while maintaining their clear direction. And that is something that is very, very important in this age, while we are, running businesses in this era. There are a lot of places where people don't have that, that clarity. And because there's not clear direction, there's lots of dissension within organizations. I was talking to someone who was a restaurant owner, and they were talking about how they have, issues within their, hierarchy because people don't know how to follow. And my thing is that if you run your organization in such a way that people understand that everybody has a role and that no role is more important than any other role, it's just different. And when people understand that, that type of concept, that everyone needs to be a team and play the part that they play so that the team can all win, then what happens is you can move a person from role to role, and they're going to have the same level of ethics, the same level of, they're going to dive in. If they know how to work the role, they've already been trained. They've already had all of the things that they needed to have to position them so that they can do a good job. Then they're not going to be in position where they're, feeling uncomfortable, and others are not going to be in position where they are not able to, understand the service that's being provided. And so the balance ensures that leaders are both supportive and guiding, as I said, but it empowers other people. Okay, that they can, then understand other roles and maybe train for those roles and operate at the same level of excellence everywhere they go in your company. So let's look at the principles of servant leadership here and really understand them for what they are. First of all, we have to understand that putting others first is really important. Servant leaders prioritize the needs of their team members. When I talked about, leaders eat last, that's actually a book, and I cannot remember the author right now, but I want to say that he, in that book, he talks about the importance. I'm going to find it for you because I think it's important for you to know what it is. So, while we're, going along our process here, I'm going to grab that because I really do think that people need to understand, good material, when they have it, and having the ability to understand prioritizing others over yourself. That's going to be, urgently important. And so, let me see if I can grab that Leaders Eat Last, because I always like to give out good material. It is by, let's see. Ooh, okay. This particular book is, let me grab it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Let's see the cover. Simon Sinek. Okay. I thought, but I just wasn't quite sure. So I didn't want to just throw his name out there. But yes, Simon Sinek. And I read a lot of his material because I just absolutely love his writing and his approach. But yes, Leaders Eat Last actually talks about prioritizing the needs of others in your company over yours, and so this is one of those books that you want to grab. But creating that culture of support and empowerment is something that you do when you put others first. Okay, and then when you have empathy and the ability to listen well, then what happens is activities that you do in your companies actually, are done in such a way that people are able to understand the team's perspective, right? The leaders understand the team's perspective. They're able to put themselves in the team's shoes, and they can build trust and open communication and deal with the concerns, again, of the others that are in their companies, as well as they're able to do that empathy map that we talked about, and, where we think about the products and the services that we're providing from the perspective of our customers and clients. That is something that's ultimately going to be really important. And then the other thing that I would say is, you got to have ethical conduct because people are watching you. They're wanting to see, what you're doing and how you're doing what you're doing. And they need to be able to see that your decisions that you're making and your actions within your company are fair, and that you have respect and regard for everyone when you're making these decisions. You're not just thinking about yourself and the people who are at the top in the company, but you're thinking about everyone all the way down to the person who may have the least job or maybe working the least amount of hours, or whatever that is. You are looking at each person and the part that you can play in making a workplace culture for everyone something that they're able to enjoy. And then, of course, building community. Servant leaders cultivate a sense of belonging and shared purpose, fostering collaboration and collective growth. That is really, really important, that you understand the building of community and how it's urgent that you're able to do that at every level. The role of the servant leader is really, really important. They have to be a facilitator. They need to create a supportive environment for each and every person, where people feel safe, and they feel safe to share their ideas. They feel safe to share their concerns. They feel safe to be at work. Okay. They feel safe to be online when we're online in Zoom. They feel that you are always making sure that their desires and their, with regards to the company, that they are being viewed, and that they are, being considered. Okay. Consideration goes a long way when you are running a company, and when you are running your company in a way that you are making training opportunities available for everyone, giving people have the ability to have a work environment that is supportive, and that, when I say supportive now, I'm talking about that they're able to, if they're working from home, they have all of the things that they need, to be able to work from home effectively, that they have the right hours that work for them and for you. And if not, then maybe you can trade roles, or trade hours, from one person to another, so that it's a better fit. If you have the capability of doing so, creating that kind of culture is important. And being able to be a mentor and a coach, to your team members is also very important, because you want to support their growth and their development, and you want them to know that you're being in, a supportive party in their growth and development. You want to invest in their individual strengths and potential. If you have the opportunity, like I said, to provide them more training, or to give them options where they can get the training, or even to, do some in-house support, when you see that in-house hand over hand, skills training is something that will work for a person. I think that it's important for us to have that kind of a thought process, and to understand the importance of doing it. And then be that visionary leader, be the one that can articulate their clear vision for the future, inspiring everyone on the team to strive for the collective goal, what it is that we're all working towards. That is very, very important. Now, how do you empower and develop others? Well, you got to be able to, first of all, understand that servant leaders delegate their tasks. They delegate it based on the team members' skills. Okay. And so when you have someone that's skilled and interested, then that's a good fit, because you're able to give them, the capability of working towards, something in the company that actually fits their makeup and fits what it is that they're ultimately wanting to move towards in their career. And so, servant leaders, they watch, they pay attention, so that they can see when these opportunities are available. And then giving people feedback and recognition, providing them constructive feedback and recognizing their contributions, and fostering motivation and engagement in what it is that you are wanting them to do is going to be very, very important. And then also providing them opportunities to grow, creating opportunities where you have them working on something that is a little bit, open enough, so that they can actually have some room to make, some strides in it, where they can actually grow into their position. Sometimes people are, well past where you've placed them, and there's no place for them to go. There's nothing for them to grow into. And it's, it can create a different type of culture than what you might be expecting, to create. And so you want to position yourself so that people are, able to, be in position, for those things that that you would like them to, you want to give them the ability to have advancement opportunities. Nobody likes working in a position where there's no place else for them to go. Whether it's that they're at the top of the pay scale, or that there's no more for them to learn. They're just stuck right there in this position. And so sometimes having that as a situation could reduce the productivity and cause the company to not be able to do what you were expecting it to do. It's important that you are able to empower and develop your team. That's important. But you want to also foster a collaborative environment. It's important that you have ultimately an open communication system where people feel like they can be honest and open with you, that you're creating a safe space, not just a safe environment for them to work in, that it's habitable, but I mean, you want to make sure that it's safe for them to communicate, safe for them to share ideas and their concerns. You don't want them to feel like if they share something that they're going to be on a watch list, okay, because of the fact that they didn't necessarily agree, or they had something that was kind of out of the box from what it was that the company may have appeared to be working towards. Sometimes being able to allow people to express, what it is that they see as a potential opportunity could, create a real opportunity for the company. And so, value your talent and give them an opportunity to participate in, some of the things that's being done, so that they can understand that you do value their thought processes and what it is that they're doing. You also want to, help them to understand that there is a shared decision making process somewhere in the company. Maybe they may not be able to be involved at the highest level in a decision, but giving them the ability to be involved in decision-making processes that promote a sense of ownership and accountability within the decisions that you allow them to make is going to be really important. I know that for some people, they don't necessarily understand it that way, but I have come to understand that I remember this, let me just say this, I'll finish my statement in a minute. When my children were young, I would let them make decisions within the realm of the decision that I wanted them to make. Okay. Give you an example. We had opportunities to get maybe 3 cereals, right? And those 3 cereals were all the healthier cereals that I was choosing. So they got to make a decision within my decision. Okay. My decision was one of these 3 cereals. They got to choose one of the 3 cereals. So they had some autonomy. They were able to make a choice, but the choice within the choices that I allowed them to make. So when you're trying to train your team to be able to have some ownership and collaborative decision making, some accountability, then what you do is you provide them with the ability to make a decision within the decisions that are within the realm of decisions that they could make. That is very important, because you're teaching them how to make a decision, and that a decision needs to be made in most cases. All right. And then for team building, investing the team building activities that are necessary for your company to be able to foster trust and collaboration and a sense of community. When you are able to take your team on a trip, or, do some type of a team building activity, even within the company or at the company, it helps them to gain the ability to participate, alongside of their teammate, and to learn more about the teammate, and to begin to, foster, that trust that may need to be there, when they're working alongside of each other at their everyday, work that they do in your company. I remember a team building activity that allowed our team to go and participate in driving in Las Vegas, the team that I was working with in insurance at the time, and they were going to the Speedway, and we went out there and we drove some really fast cars, okay? And everybody had an opportunity to participate. They all got an opportunity to get the car that they wanted to choose, and they were able to get in the car with another person or by themselves and drive really fast, okay, around this track. And they did a few laps, and in that there was was a lot for them to learn about themselves, about, being able to push their limits and do it alongside of people that were also participating in pushing their limits. And it was just an amazing, amazing thing, so I really needed, to experience that, because that was something I had never done before. And I did it, in a way that was very helpful, for me to be able to understand my limitations and what I consider safe or not safe, and how fast I was willing to go, or, it was just a lot that I learned in that. But I was in my car, my husband was in his car, and, he did his, I did mine. And so we had things that we could share, with each other. And we also were able to share with the team about the feelings that, we garnered from this activity. It was amazing, so doing these types of team building activities, I believe, fosters things that we just don't even imagine until we experience it. And then the other thing is, when you have to make ethical decisions, it's wonderful for you to be able to do this in front of the team, because they're now able to get a picture of what that looks like. Integrity is one of the first things that you got to be thinking about when you're making a decision. When you can prioritize honesty and ethical conduct in all of your actions, and people are able to see that, it sets a high standard for your team. When they see you make a decision, regardless to who's looking, when they see you make a hard decision, regardless of who's looking, this changes things for them and you. And so I want you to be thinking about, when you have to make a decision, and it seems like the concept of being fair is something that is very difficult, because the decision that you make for one part of the team might affect the other part of the team. And sometimes you might have to make a decision to take the lesser, position as the owner, so that everybody else on the team can prosper and profit, and then you get yours. Again, leaders eat last, at the end. That, sometimes will give people a different view of what your culture in your company needs to become, so that everyone understands sacrifice, and when a leader makes a sacrifice, and how a leader should make a sacrifice. Fairness is something where a person who is the leader, who is a servant leader, they is able to treat their team members with respect and fairness, ensuring that equitable opportunities and treatment also abound. There are many times where I've watched companies do something different for men than they did for women, or for that matter, that they treated the people who were older different than the ones who were younger, or they treated people of certain ethnicities different than they did others, and in those differences, it wasn't so that they could make equal access. Sometimes it was so that people would, at the top, would feel better about what they did. I am saying to you that an ethical decision-making process needs to be in place if you're going to be a servant leader, because people are looking at you and they need to have someone to follow, period. Transparency. People who are servant leaders are transparent. They are open and honest and transparent in their communication, building the trust and the accountability within the team. They have the ability to pull back the curtain and let people see, so that it's a position where everyone is able to understand what should be done and what can be done, in your company. That is so important. And it does change things when people see you operating in that way. It changes how they do business, and what they might participate in or not participate in, and even how long they stay with your company sometimes, because you have the ability to put that on display. So let's talk about the impact. What is the impact of servant leadership? Well, when you are looking at it from this standpoint, it really does give you a different view, and it helps you to make a decision about whether you're going to be a servant leader. One of the things that servant leadership does for your company is that there is increased employee engagement. There's higher levels of job satisfaction and motivation when you are a servant leader. People are motivated to want to be a part. They'll stay apart. And even if the company is going through a few things, they'll stay with you because of how you lead. I remember being in a situation where, I couldn't be paid for what I was doing. We had to furlough. And so some of you guys might have been around long enough to remember when a lot of people had to furlough in California because of the governor not signing the budget. And in our company at the time, I was running a school and I had people who were teachers, in our school. And there were other schools that were being run and those teachers were having to go and get on welfare at the time. I think they call it, um, uh, something different now, but they had SNAP benefits now. And back then it was food stamps or, food coupons, and people were having to get those because of the fact that the governor didn't sign the budget and there was no money and they didn't get a paycheck. It was a mandatory furlough. And I remember furloughing the executive team so that the people who were under us could get a check. And that was a difficult decision to make because all of us had house notes. Okay. But those of us who were in the executive team, which were just my family members, okay, at the time, we made the decision that we would, do something different. We would, take out a loan, or we would, we did some things, okay, so that we could make sure that the staff members, the teachers, and the psychologists were paid, because they were working hard like we were working hard, but their resources may not have been where ours were. And we did not want to see them have to not be able to feed their families, or, be in a situation where they were in the food stamp line because they chose to work at our school. So we made choices, to get in there and get our hands dirty so that we did something different. We factored our invoices. We did a lot of things so that the staff members could retain the ability to get paid during that 120-day season where the governor didn't sign the budget in California. So, you got to be thinking about the other things that happened. The team performances do increase when people see you getting involved like that. They start talking about, hey, we all have to group together. We've got to collaborate. We have to increase the ability for the company to make more money so we can all win. I have often talked about the gentleman who paid his staff members. He reduced everybody's pay down to $75,000, including his own, so that they were all on equal pay. And so let me see if I can find him right quick. But I remember this, story a few years ago, when he did this, because it was very, very, very important, for him to be, his name was Dan Price. Yes, here he is. Dan Price. He set a $70,000 minimum wage, not 75. All 120 of his employees were getting paid at least 70 grand. And it was in the story where this was, the story was told, it was in Inc. magazine. And but I saw it also, in another, in a newspaper, and then I saw it also on YouTube. Grown men cried, profits soared, and then things get really crazy. He talked about, so people had more children that year. People got married that year. People who had been wanting to do things that they never were able to do before were able to do it because of Dan's decision to lower his salary and to bring everyone to an equal pay of 70 grand or higher, and so that was just an amazing, amazing choice that he made, and it's wonderful to see someone coming into, the mindset of being a servant leader like this gentleman, and making the decision to do that, change lives in his company. And it did enhance his productivity in the company. It did increase the bottom line, for the company. It did a lot of things. But I am saying that when you make that kind of a choice, it changes everything in your company. There's a stronger organizational culture when you make a decision to be a servant leader. A culture of trust, respect, and shared purpose exists when you make that kind of decision. So, to kind of, end this today, I really want you to understand, our takeaways. When you are a servant leader, this is an approach that is, very powerful, because you've prioritized the well-being of your team, the growth of your team over the growth of the company per se. And by doing that, by embracing this kind of leadership, then the growth of the company is going to be a byproduct of that. You'll have ethical conduct and empowerment as something that people are able to, aspire to, because they're looking at you while you're doing it, and they decide that they want to do it as well. Servant leaders, create a positive and productive work environment where everybody thrives. And so that is something that, I really need people to be, thinking about when they are, talking about being a servant leader, that it's going to have some effects. And some of those are going to be unintended consequences, but you will benefit from all of it. From all of it. When you are able to position yourself, in that way. Well, this has been Dr. Patience Jackson Rose, and we have been here live, co-working live with Red Worldwide, and we hope that you have really garnered something from this particular episode, but we plan to do a part 2 at some point, because I wanted to, share with you some servant leaders. We've got some servant leaders who hopefully I can bring on the line. It was a plan to have them available. They're not available today, but we will bring on some people so that you can see what servant leadership has actually done for their company. But in the meantime, we hope to see you again next time.